Good evening, everyone. Please rise for the pledge. Who was the class valedictorian? Is there one of them here? Who's a smart kid here?
Boy, girl, boy, girl, boy, girl.
Both of you, come on.
Boy, girl.
Come up this way, to us.
Yep, come up.
Us,
And lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Whenever you're ready.
Get
All
next to him
right?
so you can read it to
You
Mike.
ready?
Go on.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well done, thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Councilmember Bardini? Present. Councilmember Totino?
Present.
Councilmember Pristula?
Present.
Councilmember Rye?
Here.
Supervisor Albro?
Here, I'm gonna need to make four agenda amendments for four items for special consideration. One resolution authorizing legal services by special town council and litigation. One is a municipal agreement with the Village of Fishkill for sharing our building inspector. The third one is to resolution in the public hearing to consider establishing a third deputy tax receiver in the town. And the fourth is the resolution to name a new deputy tax receiver today. Also have another amendment. I'd like to move the executive session right after we do the privilege of the floor for town items. So I'll present all that as a motion to amend it. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So what we'll do now is, since we got these children here, Greg, explain to the audience what's going on.
Okay, well, first off, to all of the students, faculty, and affiliated individuals with the St. Mary's School and the St. Mary Mother of the Church here in Fishkill, thank you for joining us tonight. This board is a big supporter of community initiatives, and one of the big community initiatives here in Fishkill is the Fishkill Food Pantry. It's been in operation for many years and provides emergency food assistance to countless families here in Fishkill and surrounding communities. Last year, it served more than 100,000 meals to help families put food on their table. And recently, it was brought to our attention from Mr. Eddie Colon, a good friend of the board, that the students at St. Mary's participated in a food drive that has helped the pantry, and we wanted to recognize those students, the school, and the St. Mary's Church. So I have two proclamations here, which I will read sort of in combination to recognize everyone involved. So these are proclamations recognizing St. Mary, Mother of the Church, and Father Hartley Bancroft, as well as the St. Mary's School students and Principal Mrs. Diana Robles Rios. Whereas the residents of the town of Fishkill and surrounding communities are served by the Fishkill Food Pantry, a mission of the First Reformed Church of Fishkill. And whereas the Fishkill Food Pantry provides emergency food assistance to individuals and families facing food insecurity, serving more than 100,000 meals in 2025. And whereas, in order to serve the community, the Fishkill Food Pantry relies in part on charitable donations and participation in community food drives and other initiatives which raise funds and food supplies for the food pantry's mission. And whereas St. Mary, Mother of the Church, located at 106 Jackson Street in the town of Fishkill, has been a longtime partner of the food pantry, providing food donations and charitable giving, which advance the food pantry's ability to serve the community. And whereas Father Hartley Bancroft of St. Mary, Mother of the Church, has been instrumental in facilitating church participation in food drives organized in partnership with the Fishkill Food Pantry and the St. Mary's School. And whereas the students of St. Mary's School, with the help of school principal Mrs. Diana Robles Rios, have displayed exceptional leadership and civic mindedness in participating in a food drive which helped the Fishkill Food Pantry serve individuals and families in Fishkill and beyond. And whereas the town board desires to recognize those individuals and organizations who go above and beyond in their service to the Fishkill community, now therefore be it resolved, the town board of the town of Fishkill does hereby proclaim its recognition of Father Hartley Bancroft, the students of St. Mary's School, school principal Mrs. Diana Robles Rios, and St. Mary, Mother of the Church of Fishkill. And be it further resolved that the town board of the town of Fishkill shall present a copy of this proclamation to the students of St. Mary's School, Principal Ms. Diana Robles Rios, and Father Hartley Bancroft at the January 21st, 2026 Town Board meeting, or as soon thereafter as possible, in the spirit of recognition and gratitude, by order of the Town Board of the Town of Fishkill on this, the 21st day of January, 2026.
Hear, hear. So let's set up our pictures.
So at this time, I would like to invite all the students to come forward.
This is fun.
Father Bancroft, Principal Robles Rios, and we would love to take a picture with you all. So, let's come around.
Let's get together. Let's have them centered right here, okay?
Father, hand this to you, and Principal Robles Rios. You, and I left my phone over there. Eddie, shouldn't you be in this? From the food pantry, we should have Eddie here. Eddie. Hey, there we go. Why don't you stand with Principal Robles Rios?
I was going to stand next to the holy man. You got a little holy this thing.
We got one more coming.
No.
You know, I'm gonna let parents and family take a photo first, and then I'll take mine after.
Nice job.
Come on, get closer. Come on, get closer. Everyone.
That's the best group shot we've had.
Oh yeah. All right, now everyone, once we're done, look at me.
You won't,
All right, and now big smiles.
they can't.
Thank you. And congratulations. Right about that.
There's a question with the principal and the father? Good, yeah.
Great, thank you.
All right, see you soon. Has to go home to your homework. The supervisor's kicking you out. That's it.
Lose your popularity immediately.
Go do your homework.
Unless you're going to plan on speaking.
Go right to the table, give it to everyone else.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Oh, want to leave one here for the supervisor? Oh, you did. Good job, man. Good job.
Got it.
I like the Fishkill Pro Award. If you ever saw, like, you know, a fellow student doing something nice, scan to someone else something, you know, that was beyond just being a good person.
I was like, oh, someone's helping someone when they drop their gloves. Or when I helped a little kid on the jumping gym at recess. You know, you could get a pro award and it could be put on the wall outside the principal's office. And it was always so special to see your name up there with the pro awards. That was...
That's really, it is though, because it's actually cool, you know, it's
Look,
like
positive reinforcement is so important for when kids are doing what makes a model citizen, makes a model person, recognizing that and making them feel proud about that, especially when it's something that isn't easy to do. It goes so far into helping them not only feel a sense of accomplishment, but want to keep doing good things for other people. Absolutely. Would it surprise you to know that I wasn't shy about talking to people when I was here?
That's a good thing.
Not in the least.
They called me the mayor of Round Hill. I was a toddler, and my mom would be pushing me, on a walk in a stroller, and I'd be just waving to strangers.
Kissing baby.
Well, no, I was a baby, so it just would have been, What's a gala? A gala. Oh, I guess it's March. Yeah, I'm just not going to weigh in on that topic at all. I'm not going to weigh in on that topic.
Adoption agenda. Okay, next up is acceptance of minutes, Town Board Annual Organizational Meeting, January 7th. Presented as motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? I don't think we have any new employees today. Next up is privilege of the floor for anything regarding the town of Fishkill. Mr. Cologne?
Eddie Colon from the town of Fishkill, representing the Fishkill Food Pantry. First of all, I'd like to thank the board, Mr. Torino, for helping me and getting us this proclamation for the church and the school. To you, Mr. Supervisor, I thank you very much because you've always been there supporting the community, and you was there to support us all the time. But I just realized that St. Mary's School has been doing food drives for over 20 years for the food pantry. And this church, from November 2nd up to today right now, they have given us over 900 bags of food with the parishioners. Every day, every Sunday Mass or Saturday Mass, every parishioner brings one can of food, whether it's a soup or beans or whatever. So if there's 900 parishioners, that's 900 cans of food. So they do this every Sunday. So that's what I like to say, thank you very much because, we might be small in the community, but we're strong. We support each other, and with you guys supporting us, it makes us stronger. I like to also say that this Saturday and Sunday, but unfortunately it's not going to be Sunday because I'm not going to be a snowman. It's going to be a food drive at ShopRite from 8 o'clock to 4 o'clock in the afternoon, only on Saturday because Sunday is going to be, Mr. Carmine Isvan is going to be very busy, so he's not going to plow over there. So, again, thank you very much, and thank you for your support.
Thank you, Mr. Cologne. Mr. Broccoli, you want to speak? Come on.
If anyone else wants to go up before me.
We're waiting for you, sir. Long time no see. How you doing?
Oh, I got it.
All right.
Nice to see you. Welcome back, Mr. Nugent.
Oh, thank you.
So I was told that at the December 3rd meeting, Mr. Ashworth was here and he asked if the town could officially designate my property as a soldier's cemetery. And you had asked him if he could bring any evidence. So I felt that it was my obligation to come here to talk to the town. I understand there's a passport that you created.
Yes.
About historic sites. I don't know if my property is on that passport, if it would be.
Greg, why don't you run back there and get him a copy?
If you don't mind, Greg,
Your
I'd
property's
appreciate
not
it.
on it, but
I got one right here.
Oh, thank you.
In here.
Could I see it?
The only thing that's not here is the monument from the Daughters of the American Revolution, but you can look at it. You can have it.
You got it.
Yep.
Keep it.
The celebration is June.
No.
You might not get back, sir.
I'll look at it later, because
Yeah, the monument from the Daughters of the American Revolutionary War that dedicated the burial ground, that marker is in that passport, not your property.
located at the Van Wyck House. Oh,
Yeah.
Placed at the intersection of Route 9 and Van Wyck Lake Road. That's my property, right?
You don't own Route 9 in Van Wyck Road?
No, on the corner of, so you're saying it was on my property
At
again?
one time? No,
Okay.
it was on the right-of-way, not your property.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying, but so you're saying that it was marking the soldiers claiming they're buried on my property?
That's what the monument says.
Right, no, it doesn't say
Yes,
it's
it
on my
does.
property. All right, well, that's why I felt it was my obligation to come here today.
Thank you for
Because back in 2007, we did an archaeological dig on my property. And during that time, when they did discover the graves, Bill Sandy, who was the archaeologist who worked for the firm who discovered these graves, told me that this was likely the Van Wyck family lost burial. And the reason why they said that is because they said that the burial ground is a matter of a few feet from where the barracks were, the encampment, where 2,000 soldiers were on the west side of Route 9, which back then was called Albany Post Road. And if you look at the curve in the road, which still exists from the original road, it's in the Maya Cafe parking lot. And it's undisputed. I could bring you there. And like I told you, Ozzy, I think it would be a wonderful thing if you honored those barracks. Because if you see where the road is, you'll know that it was a matter of a few feet, the encampment, the campground, from my property. The stables, the Continental stables, also should be honored during the celebration of our 250th. And that structure was likely on my property, but as you know, Ray Raish, who was on the board back in 2019, he told me that his dad, actually his grandfather, built 2 houses on the property back in the late 50s, early 60s. And in the Huey report, which was a state archaeologist, Paul Huey, he said that based on the fact that these 2 houses, which had septics, they had dry wells, they had basements, likely destroyed the Continental stables. So I would be honored if you would put a plaque that does honor the structure that was on my property south of the Van Wyck home. So it's between Van Wyck Lake Road and the Van Wyck homestead. There was also, as I told you, the ruins of the blacksmith shop. So you had the stables to the south of Van Wyck. This goes, I want to elaborate on. All this evidence is in the 1778 Erskine map. So it was well documented where these structures were. The blacksmith shop was just to the west of Old Albany Post Road, which back then was a dirt road. It's where the highway is now. So that was where the blacksmith shop is. And that was discovered in the 60s when they were widening Route 9 at the time. So you do have a structure, and this was the encampment of the Fishkill Supply Depot. So the Fishkill Supply Depot, to make everyone understand, was Fishkill. It went from Fishkill Landing, which is where the beacon is today, all the way to Putnam Valley, where the redoubts were. The redoubts were where the lower barracks was. So I think that should be honored. And as a matter of fact,
It's in the passport, yes it is.
yeah, no, not the redoubts, but the lower barracks, which was the major hospital at the Fishkill Supply Depot. So there were barracks where the redoubts are. That's where the soldiers' burial ground was.
Whoa, no, you don't know that.
I have documentation.
You don't know that.
If you read the 1971 archaeological study by Temple University and what I'm about to show you here.
Let's see it.
Okay. So that's where the monument, when they honored the burials of the soldiers that passed during the Revolution,
Which monument you're talking
the
about?
DAR monument that you said,
The one that says the bodies lie in repose?
in the adjoining field.
In the adjoining field?
Yes,
So,
that's it.
So people are watching Mr. Broccoli speak. His property's across the McDonald's on Route 9. Currently, it's 5 lanes, 5 or 6 lanes.
7.
7 lanes, thank you. At that time period, it was a small dirt road.
Yes.
And that corner of Van Wyck Lake Road on Old Albany Post Road, the old Indian pathway, then was not that big. And it was the same property owner that owned both sides of the road. So
Right.
I don't see how somebody would allow a monument like that to be put there if they did not have any historic impact. So lie and repose, definition of repose is what, Greg?
Well,
Yeah.
it's buried.
No question.
Okay. At that intersection, there was only one corner where there are graves. That's the spot that you agreed with in Fishkill Historical Society to preserve. I'm happy that you did that. So only argument you and me have, or the citizens of Fishkill, the Friends of the Supply Depot, you, is whether it's a family plot or if it's a Revolutionary War burial ground. That's it.
Okay.
Graves are there.
Oh, there's no question there were graves there.
So I don't know what we're arguing about.
No, I'm not arguing. I'm just stating some facts that I have evidence that I'm going to show you.
They were buried, soldiers were buried up and down Route 9.
Okay.
So 5 troopers were killed from Massachusetts, they buried them, and they got them back later. That's how they did things. So I'm sure there's graves all over the place.
All right. But the mass burial of graves it's not true, and there's no evidence of soldiers being buried on my property other than the rumors that people pass. But go ahead, Greg, I want to hear. No, I'm more than happy to answer questions. Go ahead.
I just wanted to make sure that it is known. You know, our passport is of course meant to encourage residents to take pride in Fishkill history. Referencing the Daughters of the American Revolution monument, which is now currently located at the Van Wyck homestead,
Yes.
Is meant in part to encourage people to visit the Van Wyck homestead site and to see the monument that the Daughters of the American Revolution erected. Now, you know, obviously, as you said, there is some disagreement as to whether or not it was correctly located in the first place. The purpose of the passport was not to opine on that, and the language contained within the passport offers no opinion whatsoever about the historical accuracy of the wording of the monument. It simply acknowledges the existence of the monument and its value to Fishkill history and encourages people as part of a broad tour of the historical assets of the town to stop at the Van Wyck homestead and visit.
Right.
So if your concerns this evening are that the passport or the reference to the monument are part of an argument or a public information campaign by the town to assert that your property is a revolutionary...
As Mr. Albert just insinuated.
Well, Mr. Albert is entitled to his own personal
Right,
opinions.
exactly.
But if you limit your observation to what is contained within the passport itself does not make any statement about the actual location of the burial ground or any opinion about its original location,
Okay.
only the historical value of a monument that was erected by the
I understand.
DAR.
Now,
I just want that to be on the record.
Okay. In 1842, it was said in my 2009 report that the Van Wyck Lake Road was the only road that turned east off the turnpike, which it wasn't called the turnpike, it was called Albany Post Road, or Albany Post Road at the time. The 2009 report that Mr. Sandy worked on, that I'm going to show you evidence, because this isn't about me discussing it with you, it's about hard evidence, didn't exist in 1842. The first map to show a road where Van Wyck Lake Road is, where supposedly the soldiers' graveyard was located, was 1850. Where the road does turn off the turnpike to the east, it was to the east of the village. Now you have to read the document in its entirety. It was a travel guide, and the travel guide was explaining to the south were the barracks. To the east, it says to the east, meaning to the east of the village. That's where the road turns off the turnpike. And that's where one of 3, in my 10 years of research, there were 3 mass burials of soldiers. I'm going to tell you where they are. One is documented at the lower barracks 3 miles south. The other is documented at Trinity Church. And the third one is documented at the Rumbout Cemetery. So what I'm going to bring to you here, you could make faces all you want, but I'm going to show you evidence.
The people that run the Roundabout Rural Cemetery already made statements that the burial ground is not there.
Oh, I know they did. I know they did.
The Trinity Church is a cemetery that have separate plots.
Okay.
So you're just saying these 2 things, and your third thing you're saying is south of on Route 9 by the Putnam County line.
Yes.
There was only one place that had a monument. There are history books, history of Dutchess County, history of the town of Fishkill, that make it clear at the foot of the mountain, south of the stream, east of the road.
Okay.
There's only one spot like that in Fishkill, and there's only one spot that there's graves there.
Okay,
That's it.
yeah, so you're saying they're on my property. Okay, but now I'm going to give you the evidence.
You just said there's multiple graveyards here, so
There
there
were
could be
3.
10 of them. Who knows?
Okay, no, but my point is, when I brought at my last meeting, I brought you the DAR 1897 speech, the ceremony. And in the ceremony, it talks about dedicating this monument to Trinity Church. All you have to do is just read it. If that document didn't specify where the graves are, the Friends of the Fishkill Supply Depot would have had that 1897 document, the ceremony, word for word, on their website, number one. Number two, could I just finish 1 second?
No, so you're suggesting that there's a burial ground below the individual graves of the Trinity Church?
No, I just said at the Trinity Church. I didn't tell you where.
Where? Because they're all individual graves.
Ozzy, all I could tell you is if you read the 1897 DAR ceremony, it honors the graves. All you have to do is read it. The graves buried at Trinity Church and yonder barracks. Now, you have to understand the history of the area. Where my property is in the Van Wyck homestead was the encampment. So that was the campground, okay? That's where the soldiers stayed. They're not going to bury soldiers a few feet from the campground. So anyhow, let me get back to why I came here. First, I would like to hand this to all the individuals so that you could read it, okay? This is a document that
Thank you, sir.
I just recently discovered.
Thank you.
That was
You okay?
on my, yes, thank you, was regarding the dig that took place in 2007.
Mr. Bronfman, could I ask you to just hand them out? Say all that in the mic, because other people want to hear it. No, you did not.
Nice to see you. Okay, so, this document was written, Bill Sandy, the archaeologist, remember I told you, he told me that it's likely a family burial ground? So if you look at this document that was in the file at SHPO that I never saw, and it's not part of my 2009 report. So if you read it, this was before they dug into the grave feature that they found in 2007. And if you read it here, previous archaeological, again, this was never public.
What paragraph?
This is the second paragraph, historical literature. Okay. Previous archaeological consultants have favored a location for the burial ground near the lower barracks and hospital. Okay, that was written and given to SHPO. But the gentleman at SHPO was part of the Friends of the Fishkill Supply Depot. Okay, just so you know that. The upper barracks was a beehive of activity with the barracks, stables, parade ground, prison, and carpentry, forging, etc. The upper barracks location was not regarded as a logical place for a cemetery since it would waste precious space. The Erskine map shows the barracks west of the post road and the current project area. So what this is saying is that the upper barracks was right across from the burial ground. The project area was the burial that they were going to dig in. This was asking SHPO for permission to dig up the grave. Before they do this, they have to get permission. This was sent to SHPO, was never public, and it's not part of my report. So now it talks about the two maps, 1778 and the 1789 Coles map. Neither one of them say that there existed the Van Wyck Lake Road at the time. The first map, 1850, is the Sydney map. That talks about the Van Wyck Lake Road. Now is the first time it's shown. Okay, that's first. Next page. The next page here is interesting because this here If the graves that will need to be determined, if they are graves, so all they see at this point in 2007 is a feature that could be a grave. So it's a stain of the soil. It's darker than the subsoil because they moved the topsoil. So they're saying, if the features are graves, and that will need to be determined by sampling, meaning they're going to have to dig into this. Okay. And if they are affiliated, if they are part of the Continental Soldiers Cemetery, but not the one that is supposed to contain hundreds. That's number one. A stray family cemetery, that's another option. They talk about it could be slaves, it could be other things such as, you know, Native Americans, things like that. If it's a stray family cemetery, the existence of the structure on the opposite side of the street during the second and third quarters of the 19th century may furnish the features found on the southwest corner, meaning the Van Wyck family had houses on the west side of, back then, Old Albany Post Road, Route 9. So they believe that they furnished the features, meaning they're buried there. Okay, this is where I was telling you. If they are soldiers, which I mean family members of the Van Wyck family, I believe that this answers the question because they were buried there before the revolution. Okay. These two cemeteries, they talk about two cemeteries where the Van Wyck family is buried. One is the Fishkill Rural Cemetery and another one is in Hopewell. Then it says, they do not contain all the Van Wyck's family members. The earliest Van Wycks are Cornelius, who passed away in 1767, before the Revolution, and his brother Theodore, who passed away in 1754.
Yes,
Okay.
their graves are located at the First Reformed Church.
There's many family members with these same
With
names.
Cornelius and
If you're,
Theodorus, it was common in Dutch tradition to name your son after your father.
Right, right.
There were several generations of Corneliuses and Theodorus.
okay. Well, they're saying that these two that passed away, they never found
I
them.
don't want to waste your time, Mr. Broccoli. I think what I'll do is I'll create you're right, they did come the first meeting of December to say they were going to present their case. I think it's a good idea. This is the 250th anniversary of the founding of this country with the Declaration of Independence. I'm going to ask the town board if it's okay that we have the town clerk to put up for a discussion item and the second town board meeting in February. Let's have a discussion with the town to say where is the Revolutionary War burial ground is. So Cooper,
I'm sorry.
no, I'm done. Wait till I'm done. So the second meeting in February, just for discussion item, where is the Revolutionary War burial ground in the town of Fishkill? All right? So starting that date, if you want to bring evidence that is not there, or anybody that has evidence that it is there, let's do it.
Oh, I
And
think
with the
that's
town board, will take all the information in. If there's enough, we'll do a resolution, either yes or no. How's that sound?
I'd like to add a couple of things, if that's okay, Mr. Supervisor.
Yes,
This
sir.
is Greg Lane.
I know, Mr. Lane.
Okay. Town Board members, Greg Lane, I'm at work with Mr. Broccoli. I understand, I just want to add some information that may kind of inform this vote that you're about to take for this meeting. There's a lot of evidence that's actually within your own records right now. So first I want to state that the New York State Historic Preservation Office, who is the authority on all archaeology in the state, has already stated there is no evidence. There is no evidence that there are any soldiers buried on this property. You have a piece of paper that states that. After the secret findings of the 5-year study that Continental Commons went through, they stated this property has been exhaustively studied. So Mr. Ashworth and the Friends of Fishkill Supply Depot disagreed with that decision. They filed an Article 78 with the town of Fishkill and Mr. Broccoli. The New York State Supreme Court reviewed every record that is in the town's possession, every record that's in the New York State Historic Preservation Office possession, and they concluded Mr. Ashworth has no argument. He appealed that decision. When he was here in December, about the same time, the New York Appellate Court concluded that Mr. Ashworth has no supporting evidence. They threw out his case. So the New York State Supreme Court has already ruled on this. Thirdly, Mr. Ashworth was under a deposition for a federal case, and he himself, under oath, stated that he has no evidence on who was buried there. That is a deposition that is within the town board has access to. So there is no evidence.
Mr. Lane, thank
Yeah.
you. I don't want to waste your guys' time because you'll be back here next month to plead your case then. The bottom line is a lot of those soldiers that were buried in Fishkill.
Well, we don't want to, excuse me, sorry to interrupt, Mr. Supervisor. We don't want to plead our case. You have the information within your own hands.
No. You're saying there's no evidence. So at the Battle of White Plains, the beginning of the war, there's two important events that happened in the town of Fishkill regarding battles. The Battle of White Plains, early in the Revolution, when we got wiped out in White Plains, these soldiers were brought up into Fishkill. A lot of them died, and it was such a poor nation at the time that the soldiers were stripped naked. So you bury a dead body with no clothes on it, no uniform. There is no proof that there were soldiers 250 years ago. So unless you have proof that it is, you just don't know.
Weren't those soldiers,
No, you're interrupting me.
No, but weren't they at the Trinity Church?
The-
These soldiers, because
They-
you were at one meeting, Mr. Albert, I just want to repeat what you said. You said they were stacked like cordwood at the Trinity Church.
No, I did not say at the Trinity Church. I
Yeah,
said at
between the two
intersection-
churches. But
they-
the ground was so frozen, you said, that they couldn't bury them there.
No.
So I don't
They
know
couldn't
how the
be buried.
temperature of a mile down, they brought them to the campground.
They couldn't
Now-
be buried because the ground was frozen.
Okay,
This is
you said the
something-
ground was frozen right after the War of White Plains, the Battle of White Plains. Did you know that the Battle of White Plains took place in October?
No, yes, exactly.
The ground was frozen in October?
It took a while to get up here. They walked, they didn't have a nice,
So it took
$200,000
two
car to
months?
come up here. This is how it was back then. But we're gonna get it on the agenda, and you can come here and you can talk about it.
Can I ask, let me just see if I can get this correct. You want the opposing parties to come here and state their case?
No.
What are we going to
No,
accomplish in
no.
this
What-
hearing? What are we doing?
This is the 250th anniversary of the town of the United States. Somebody mentioned in the December meeting that it would come here with proof. They didn't show up. He came here prepared, and I think we should review everybody, whatever they have.
I'm not quite sure what the authority of this board is to impose a definition on this piece of property. Because the New York State Historic Preservation Office, all you have to do is pick up the phone and contact Nancy Herder, who's in charge of all the archaeology in the state of New York.
Yeah?
She will give you a professional, independent opinion on what is actually at this site. No newspaper article, no conjecture by someone assuming that bodies were brought up from the Battle of White Plains, buried in Fishkill, which included Beacon, Wappingers, all the way down East Fishkill.
Mr. Brock, you just spent 15 minutes making assumptions that there are multiple burial grounds in the town of Fishkill.
Well, wait, let's correct the
Come on
record.
now.
No. Mr. Broccoli is not making, well, first of all,
They're not assumptions.
Mr. Broccoli is basing his comments on his opinions on where he thinks bodies may be. What we can say with certainty, because this piece of property has been studied more than almost any other piece of property in the entire state of New York. Over 20% of the property has been dug up. The entire property has had GPR, LIDAR, and has had over a dozen archaeological studies over the past 30 or 40 years. So all this information has been handed to the town of Fishkill during a 5-year secret review process of the property. All this information is with the New York State Historic Preservation Office. The town of Fishkill hired an independent archaeological firm to review all this material to provide an opinion to the planning board, and everybody came to the same conclusion. There is no evidence that one burial that has been studied is an American Revolutionary War soldier. Those bones were in poor condition. They could not be dated within 100 years of the 18th century. They could be from the 1600s, they could be from the 1700s, they could be from the 1800s. There were no artifacts found with that burial. The only thing that was found with that burial were old nails. So there is no way to come up with any conclusion on who was buried there. And that is why Mr. Broccoli dedicated the property to be preserved and invited the Fishkill Historical Society to be the the caretaker of the property. So nothing will actually happen
Hey,
on that property.
the town of Fishkill is very happy.
Could I say one
So
thing?
wait, no, hold on,
You've been
sorry,
talking for
sorry to
15
interrupt.
minutes.
That's all right.
But,
You know.
so there's nothing that will happen in February.
Sure there will.
That will change
Sure
that.
there will.
Of how?
Historians have put in history books that that site contains the burial ground.
But historians are not archaeologists.
Okay.
And the
Can I say
archaeological
something?
studies.
We'll have that debate in the future, starting February. the
I have-
second
Well, wait,
week
no,
of
I want to say
February.
one more thing. I just want to say one thing for the record.
Yeah.
And then I sorry to interrupt,
No
Dominic.
problem.
I just want to tell you this, okay? That you are treating Mr. Broccoli's property different than any other property in the town of Fishkill. And I'll explain why. Down the road is the Oasis property. There's a medical office building proposed there. I don't see you designating this property part of the burial ground. There was no archaeology done on that piece of property.
Which
Across
one?
the street is the mall. There is a warehouse being proposed there. There was no archaeology done on that property.
They had to do an archaeologist, they had to apply
No,
with
there
these
was
style
no
historian
digging on
lines.
the property. That was done decades ago.
Okay.
You are treating this property differently.
No, I'm not.
And by coming up with a definition that this is a burial site with no evidence, you are treating it differently. And you're infringing on his property rights.
Who said anything about
And
without
you are
evidence?
infringing on his ability to be able to market the property. This is an
Oh.
approved property that has commercial value, and you are
Sir,
actually taking away
I
the
was
property
unaware that our
values.
conversation this evening had anything to do with any commercial property development. As I understand,
This is
the
an
commercial
approved
Excuse
project.
me, I'm speaking. I've been very respectful of your comments. Please be respectful of
Yeah,
mine.
you are.
As I understand, Mr. Broccoli has put forward a proposal for development on the property, and the development as he has proposed it has been approved.
That's
And
correct.
construction can begin, and in fact, certain work, as I understand it, is underway. So,
What work are you talking about?
well, I know that the property has been cleared at the very
Oh,
least,
yeah,
so.
but no work.
I know that there are phases, and you'll be doing your, but the town's participation in the overview and approval of Mr. Broccoli's development proposal is complete. So I don't want to say that I resent the insinuation that we are somehow infringing on property development rights when the development of the property has already been approved, and once certain conditions are met with the county, that work can complete. The town is not standing in the way of anything, and Mr. Broccoli's determination to enter into an agreement with the Fishkill Historical Society for the dedication and preservation of the area which contains a burial ground it was a voluntary act undertaken by Mr. Broccoli in a show of good faith between himself and the Fishkill Historical Society. So I personally do not like the insinuation that the board is doing anything to infringe upon a development project which is already underway and which the board is not attempting in any capacity to stop.
I'm not insinuating what
No,
I'm...
it's exactly what you said, sir.
No, exactly. I'm not insinuating. I'm telling you that as this property is being marketed, that
Well, hold on a
a
second,
future...
he's not gonna build? You're not
No,
building?
I'm saying
about-
marketing is trying to...
Marketing what?
To attract
To
tenants.
attract tenants.
So when you're trying to attract tenants to a property that you are now going to designate a burial ground that has historic value by misinterpreting that there are American, God forbid, no one wants to build on American soldiers, patriots of this country. Mr. Broccoli doesn't propose to do that.
No, and I don't think
And no,
anyone's
and so,
suggesting that
so
he is, because
insinuating
his
the
project has been
property,
approved.
to insinuating that the board is insinuating that this property actually has American Revolutionary War soldiers buried on it would scare away potential tenants.
Forgive
No
me,
one
this-
said that.
I'm offering a personal opinion. This is not reflective of the position of the town board. I am offering my personal opinion on this.
I'm offering a
And- no,
professional
excuse
opinion.
me, I haven't even offered the opinion yet. Please allow me
What's
to
your
offer it.
opinion?
It is my personal opinion, and it will not affect how I vote on anything because, as I understand it, there are no matters pending before the board on this particular project. But I would think that if you are building a property,
say
a
something,
That's
commercial
enough.
property
That's
called
enough, Liz.
Continental Commons, rebuilding it and designing it in a style reflective of construction typical of the period of the American Revolution, then it being located next to a parcel which could be marketed as an American Revolutionary War burial ground would be a boon to attracting tenants, not a bane to attracting them. I'm not a marketing
I want to end this
expert.
because it's getting a
But-
little
But
winded.
again,
Listen,
I really don't
can I
like
say one
I
thing?
don't like the accusation that the board's interest in preserving history and having an accurate understanding of what that history is by considering the viewpoints of people who disagree about sites of interest is somehow infringing on property development rights when the project has been approved and will be underway as soon as Mr. Broccoli completes any paperwork inspections or whatever with any other bodies that have oversight.
I just have two more things to say, and I'm going to end this.
So you're not going to come in 2 weeks? You're not going to come at the next meeting?
I don't see any reason, because you don't believe anything I say anyhow, Ozzy. Two things I just want to say.
I didn't say I don't believe what you said.
All
I
right.
never said that.
Yeah, you keep shaking your head no.
No,
I just want to say two things. Number one, I understand that you changed the name of my roads without my permission. You call it the Fishkill Supply Depot Way. Did you have permission from me to do that?
First of all, you don't give permission. The town board gives permission.
The name of the roads on my property were called Patriots Way and Freedom Lane.
And you
okay?
don't-
And it was on my plan from 2015. So for 10 years, those names were on the plan. And then when the 911 committee for addressing asked the town to create a resolution
Yes.
to approve, not to rename,
No.
to approve the names that I put, which I thought were very patriotic, you took it upon yourself to just change it to the Fishkill Supply Depot Way. So now when you Google my property, it says Fishkill Supply Depot. That's one. You did it without my permission, am I correct?
We don't need your permission to do that.
Yes, you do. Yes,
We
you
do?
Yes, you do, because that was
So
on the plan. Anyhow, let's
wait a second.
go.
You're here at the town board. You're the supervisor, and there's 4 of your acolytes here.
Have
Is
you
that what
ever
you're saying?
have you ever renamed anyone's property without the owner's permission?
Yes, I did.
Could you write a list? I'd like to see that.
We
But the
named-
next thing,
No,
I want to end
Whoa,
on
whoa,
this.
stop. You asked a question. I'm going to give you the answer. Last year, the Jehovah Witnesses was going to name the property down by the waterfront Riverwalk Way, off Brockway Road. During World War II, there was a sharecropper's son who was African-American who died in combat in World War II. We named the road after that World War II combat veteran.
After speaking to the owners of
No,
the
I did
property.
not. I just
That's
did
what
it.
you said
No,
to
I did
Mr. Rye. Am I correct, Mr. Rye? He admitted he spoke to the owners of the
No.
Jehovah Witness property.
No.
You asked him, and you said to him,
If you say I did, I
just look at the video.
Let me just say something here, okay? And I know that you are still under privilege of the floor, which I've seen somebody stand up here for 2 hours and talk about
I'm not going to
trees.
stand there. I'm almost
So-
done.
No. What I'm saying is, it's privilege of the floor. That's number one. Number two is, if you're going to open this up to opposing sides coming here in the second meeting in February to discuss this kind of thing, it's going to degenerate as it has for years, and it's not going to accomplish anything. And I guarantee you, if it happens, I'm not participating in that
Okay.
meeting.
The last thing I want to say, and this would put an end to it, and I did tell you to do this, the DAR, who placed the monument in 1897, all right, all you have to do, and I told you this 100 times, all you have to do is call the DAR, ask them if that monument was honoring soldiers buried on my property, and they will tell you that the monument in 1897 honored the Lower Barrack Cemetery and Trinity Church. All you have to do is make a call. Now, I understand from the DAR that Greg Tatino went there to the library, am I correct, to do research to see if there's any proof that there are soldiers buried on my property. Is that true, Mr. Tatino?
I visited.
To
The
do
answer
research.
is neither specifically yes or no. I did visit the library to perform research to learn more about the historical assets and values, not only specifically of your property, but of the Fishkill Supply Depot in general as part of the town supervisor's
Did you find
office
any evidence there
initiative.
were soldiers buried on my
I
property?
did not personally
Okay,
perform
thank
any
you.
review, so
Well,
I cannot
I was
opine
told you
one way
did.
or the other. I can simply say that I observed pages which may be of interest and
Okay.
assisted in their
Well, I was
photocopy.
told that
I
you
did
went
not
there to
perform
see
a
if there's any proof there's soldiers buried there. You admitted you went, you
I
did,
admitted that I
and
went.
you found nothing.
I did
I
not
just wanted to
perform a
clarify
review.
that.
I
Well,
did
you
not
could say
perform
what
a
you want,
review.
but that's what I was
And I'm
told.
also not qualified to render an
Okay.
opinion. I'm not
Yeah.
an archaeologist or a historian.
Yeah, but everybody's designating my property as a Revolutionary
I have
War
not
site.
designated
But
anything.
anyhow, I do want to end this. I do appreciate, Ozzy, very much that you allowed me. Mr. Nugent,
Broccoli, you're welcome anytime.
I appreciate that you didn't have me arrested.
For what?
Thank you
Nothing
for, sometimes you feel that I'm unruly. I just get frustrated because I
never-
feel
Discussion
it's
is
so
what our country's all
disrespectful
about.
that the town is not honoring the soldiers' burials at these 3 burial grounds. That's all. And it bothers me as an American, and that's why I fight this fight, because I feel it's disrespectful that those 3 burial grounds are not recognized, okay? And that's why I come to this. I don't need to come to this, like you said. I'm approved. I don't have to come to Fishkill to talk about the soldiers and where they're buried.
Right.
And that evidence that I showed, there's the Rumbout Cemetery GPR that was done, that they found areas of mass burials, and the report is right in front of you, and if you want the entire report, and what they did is in the areas that they found these mass burials, it was areas of mass burials, meaning multiple graves, that report will show you, were buried, bodies were buried in individual graves, multiple. The lady said there's layers. 6 inches under the ground, above one of these mass burials, was a monument, and when they dug it up, it was a soldier that it represented. So if people say, well, they didn't do archaeology, they didn't have to. Over one of these mass burials was a plaque of a soldier. So that should put that to rest. And I think it's disrespectful that they don't honor those soldiers. And with that, I want to thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you
and
very
I
much.
do apologize for talking a little too much. I am
okay.
Italian, so I have a little bit of an excuse. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Broccoli.
Louise Daniele, legal resident of Fishkill for over 30 years. I am asking the board to explore with our town attorney, Mr. Nugent, in trying to receive payment from Mr. Domenico Broccoli in the amount of $11,514.05 for attorney's fees and costs and interest accruing from November 5th at 9%. Mr. Broccoli sued me for defamation, statements made at a town board meeting as a council member. The case was dismissed with prejudice, and with the assistance of another great attorney, Mr. Craig Kepler, we won the SLAP suit, which stands for a strategic lawsuit against public participation. When someone tries to silence someone with legal claims, with legal action, without any legitimate legal claims, once I am paid back, I will be able to pay the town and taxpayers back the money, as I was gratefully afforded counsel by the town board in conjunction with our insurance company. So both the town and the insurance company need to be paid back by the developer who sued me. And I have a decision in hand I could just give to Mr. Nugent for any kind of review. No. You can foil it. You can foil it. On to another topic. I want to thank the board for the opportunity it gave me at the last meeting to be a community liaison to the senior center. But more importantly, thank the board for supporting the seniors, and yes, there are veterans who are seniors, by not increasing the cost for seniors to enter, to go on a trip, or to come to our wonderful festive lunches. Today, the seniors handed in replacement checks for the AC trip in April that had unapproved higher rates, and submitted checks for the continued old costs, by also submitting checks today for $16 a person for the upcoming Valentine's Day lunch on February 12th. We are on track to continue providing our seniors with affordable, quality activities, lunches, and trips. However, there is a memo in the agenda packet asking to update and amend the other rec center fees with no attachment supporting documentation, and states that the fees for the senior center program are still under review. That is in conflict with what you voted on last meeting. So I would appreciate some clarity when you discuss the topic later, and confirm that there will be no changes in the already established senior fees, as you all unanimously voted not to raise them at the last meeting. This will end any further questioning regarding this matter, and we can all move forward. Thank you to Councilmember Tatino in clarifying some issues as well this week, so that it could have been taken care of before this meeting. I also wanted to say I appreciated being invited yesterday to Mary Ann's surprise birthday party, that the seniors covered the cost of pizza and salad, and Jay provided the cake. I also appreciated that they allowed me to invite Councilmember Don Prestula to attend so he can meet the seniors himself. Lastly, I plan to work with Grace Martin, one of the volunteers who also volunteers with the Office of the Aging and is currently the president of the Office of the Aging Senior Advisory Board, to see what programs or opportunities there are available for our seniors to utilize this year. With your permission, I would also like to seek into potentially utilizing sponsors to negate costs as other towns do. For example, Wappinger has a sponsor for the monthly pizza birthday parties. My thought was, since it's our country's 250th anniversary, maybe during the summer July lunch, I could find some sponsors to defray the cost of that. I will just look into it and report back to the board for further guidance and direction. There are many seniors who would like to volunteer to help during the town's planned 250th celebration in June at the stadium. So maybe I can work with Greg to see if there are specific things that they can do and I can help with as well. I have another topic, but I'll come back up for agenda items. Thank you.
I'll be happy to work with you on that, Louise.
Thank you.
That's it. That's it. No, that's it. Mr. Russ?
I don't know what lawsuit
One second.
she's talking about.
One second.
She just accused
Louise?
me of slap
Russ?
suit.
All right, sir?
Yeah, right.
Can
Just-
I
She
say,
just accused me of something, I just want to.
can we stay on the senior topic for 1 second?
Yeah.
Seniors?
Well,
I had a
oh, go ahead.
question.
Yeah, sorry.
you.
Yes, go ahead.
Because I like the idea of finding sponsorships. I think it's great. I really do. And there's got to be somebody out there that help. So I'd like to be in that loop. Because
Okay.
after all, I'm a
No
senior
problem.
on the board.
No problem.
I'm not the only senior on the board.
No, you're not. No, you're
The
not.
more the
Doggone
merrier.
it.
The more the merrier. Yeah.
Look, Louise, you are our liaison to the senior center, so feel free to work with any of us at any
of
time.
you, yeah.
Yeah.
I just,
Direct
because
your
I spoke with you
correspondence
this
to any
week,
or
I
all.
just said you. That's
Absolutely.
fine. Of course, I would ask Brian as well. As far as the other topic, I'm sure Mr. Broccoli knows what the case is. He can ask his attorney, Mr. Kieran Laylor, what it is. It's in the Dutchess County Clerk's office. He filed it. He sued me. He lost. I had a slap suit. I won. He didn't pay me. So I'm trying to get paid for that so I can pay the town back because they deferred the cost and paid for it through town money. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know what she's talking about, so I'd like to say so. Could you send me that?
Pause for 1 second. Let her-
No pause. Let the lady go.
Hello,
let Grace- no, I'm-
Grace
let-
Grace
one-
Martin was kind enough that Louise introduced who I was. Also been recognized that most of the board recognizes me. As I said last meeting, I have a vast knowledge of what's done throughout the county, and I am a strong advocate for seniors as appointed for my second term in the Senior Advisory Board for the Dutchess County. I'm very happy to work with Louise to give you any ideas to help sustain and delete some of the costs for the seniors. I am a member, an active member of the Wappingers Senior Group, as well as the Poughkeepsie, and they clearly offset the costs. You'll be surprised how many of your main businesses in the county are very willing to do these activities just like they do for veterans and other organizations and children, that we can offset many of these costs. So I'm looking forward to work with her and report back to you with Louise on those issues. But we already have in Wappinger at least 2 or 3 major sponsors who therefore the seniors don't pay for pizza and other activities. And I think the seniors would love it. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, ma'am. Sir?
Can I
Gentlemen. Nope.
I'm sorry.
Mr. Supervisor, member of the boards, my name is Paul Dickerman. I believe you're all acquainted with me, and I trust you received the letter that we wrote.
With the Roundabout Rural Cemetery?
Yes, Roundabout
Okay,
Rural
good.
Cemetery. I'm sorry, I'm the treasurer.
Yes.
I'm the treasurer, by the way.
Am I correct to say that there is no Revolutionary War burial ground on that site? Isn't that your
Well,
official?
I'm happy to say that, yes, we do have Revolutionary War soldiers, yes.
But not a mass burial ground?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
As you know, the cemetery has a very special place in the history of our town, and we, as the stewards of this cemetery, want to thank you for your support in the past and look forward to working with you in the future.
Okay. So we
And
have you on as a
so-
discussion item.
Number 4.
Number 4, right?
Yeah, a funding request.
Yeah,
Roundabout Rural Cemetery.
we've done this before.
Yes.
And I think the board,
I'm not aware of our attitude having shifted on
yes. So we support you got a few soldiers from the War of 1812 in there also.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Not to mention the monument for
There,
Lafayette.
there are veterans of almost every American conflict, at least one,
yes.
in our cemetery.
And as someone misspoken, the town of Fishkill is recognized in the Roundabout Rural Cemetery, which is in our passport.
Yes.
So,
yes.
yeah, so are those churches.
Yes.
So we are well represented, our Revolutionary War soldiers, the commitment to the revolution.
Yes.
And we certainly hope that our residents pay frequent visits to Roundabout Rural Cemetery as part of our passport program this year.
Yes, we look-
and learn about the great history that's contained there.
We look forward to it.
Okay.
Thank you again.
Thank you very much for coming. Russ, Mr. O'Malley?
Good evening, Supervisor Albert. Good evening, Town Board members. Russell O'Malley, 142 Old Route 9. Recently, Nanette and I have been viewing two town-related programs on the public access channel. There is one concerning the proposed 5282 traffic circle. The thing is, when you viewed this program, there was some view of maps, there are people just milling around, and there is no comprehensible audio. Was this a public accessible event? Please correct me if I'm wrong. I don't recall ever hearing about a specific date being scheduled during previous town meetings.
Yes, Russ, I sent out an e-gov regarding that, and we had the
check it.
hearing here.
We
And
did.
there was, I think, two or three sets of individual maps. I have one set in my office if you wish to come look at it.
Okay. And it says, I said, is there to be a public hearing concerning the traffic circle?
No, the state is not gonna, they're gonna do it on their own.
Thought so.
That was just a informational type of
All right,
meeting.
thank you. That answered that one. I hear about possible parking places being discussed. Is there about, so people could access? No, it's
No.
not going to happen,
No.
because it's be dangerous. It's virtual free-for-all when you have a traffic circle. You know, okay, that's all. All right. And, then there was the program, the DEC Texaco property.
Mm-hmm.
Again, correct me if I'm wrong, I didn't hear any scheduled date on that.
We also
Must be on
did
date
we
go.
also did it, we did two e-govs on, we
I
did two
plead-
email
I
systems
plead
on that,
ignorance,
and we
yeah,
had it
okay.
here, and that one, I think we recorded both of them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they recorded, so if anyone watches them, they're on the town's.
Well, with the other one, it just said you couldn't hear anybody talking if there was any discussion,
We
just
can
people.
certainly discuss that with our videographer. If there are any audio issues with the file that ended up getting uploaded for broadcast, I'm sure
it was-
he'd be
it
happy to go
looked
back and double
interesting, but
check
I-
and make sure that whatever's broadcasting is as high quality in terms of audio as possible.
Thank you.
Well, there also, during
And here
that,
is our videographer now.
during that meeting, one second, during that meeting, I asked several, or at least a person, to put the mic close to her mouth because you couldn't hear, if you were here, you couldn't hear her. So, but I do know that there's, hopefully you can hear it and it can be transcribed. Is that going to be transcribed, you think? That
The 5282 that you saw with all the pictures?
Yeah.
I asked, the supervisor asked, nobody from that group wanted to speak. That's why there's no sound.
Oh,
There you go.
but it was just
We
people walking
asked-
around. I didn't know.
And I even asked, because Cooper had questions with the setup that was over here, I said, could you please just ask Cooper so I could get it on the camera and the audio? They wouldn't even answer Cooper's questions
Oh
on
my
camera.
All right.
They said their social media person was not available and they weren't allowed to speak. So that's why it has no audio, so I tried to
Thank
get
you.
all the
Yeah,
information.
it just looked
But like
unusual.
the supervisor said, he has those actual maps, and I believe what they were actually doing was just kind of reading those Ozzy-Coms, correct?
Yep.
All those bullet points that were on the maps.
Well, presumably if they're not allowed to speak on
I'll come-
record,
I'll come look
on
at it.
microphone, that they're probably also not allowed to expound on the
Perhaps,
content that they're
yeah.
given. They probably were literally sent to
Thank you.
present exactly
That's
what was on the map.
Thank you.
Okay.
The other one, like Ozzy said, was just the one
DC.
woman was giving the presentation from Texaco.
Right, but the thing was is that there were a lot of people asking questions.
Yes.
And you could not hear them. There was no mic. They were
She
just
was supposed to repeat the questions.
only a couple. Yeah, repeated. Yeah. The one that the one that said to Jody that she should buy the property. That's the one. Okay, that one I heard. Okay, thank you. Thanks.
Don't rile Jody up. Mr. Malvarosa? You don't have enough of planning board meetings? You come here?
Bob Malvarosa, Town of Fishkill, 37-year resident. Come tonight because I want to thank, I don't know if he had anything to do with it, but, you know, they've been concerned about people cutting down Putnam Avenue in Forge Brook because I live back there, and I can constitute and say that I've seen it quite a few times. I've even been on the street. My son-in-law was on the street just recently, and he was trying to tell people to slow down because he's walking with my grandson and everything else. And person gave him the finger.
Who?
In the car. My son-in-law was walking on the street on Putnam,
Oh.
and somebody's driving down. And just make you understand that what the people on that street are saying is true. I mean, but it's all because of, let's face it, the congestion that's on Route 52 and then coming up Glenham Road. I know I heard that in the past by some people who were, on the site, were saying that when back in the day of Texaco, people used to do kind of almost the same thing, cut down the street. I don't know what you could do to mitigate it other than the fact that I've seen a cop there now a couple of times, and actually they put, a speed sign, which makes people cognizant of whatever is going on. So I appreciate that. The other thing is, I think, I don't know if I asked this before or somebody has asked this, possible with the DOT or someone about a grid box at the intersection of Heath off the highway and the thing, because when you try to turn into our development at night.
I asked and they told me no.
Okay, well then that's.
I got one on Wheaton and I got one on Cheer Party on 9D. They wouldn't
Yes.
give me the one on Heath.
Okay.
I tried.
Which is, give my answer on that. Because I actually heard and seen where one time a state trooper was trying to come out of Heath Road and they were blocking him until he got to a point where he had to get on his radio and start, telling the motorists, if you don't, we're gonna, whatever. So just to make you understand what's going on there, like I said, the traffic situation is just gonna be what it is, but every time we have these things at our meetings about, traffic, I think sometimes they kind of look at things in a vacuum or only to like whatever they're going to contribute. But I said, if we already have too much, whatever it is, it's just adding to it. The other thing is, I guess I wanted to say thanks that I think I seen that the property down by the mall is definitely been cleaned up and mitigated and whatever. I don't know if it'll stay that way only because, like I told you, without any lighting down there, it's like night and day. I mean, you go to the side of Home Depot and you go there, it's, like you said.
Well, hopefully, this is the year they do something.
They had
Otherwise, I'm going to be extremely aggravated. I'm I'm serious.
Well,
So
it's got to be
some impending deal, and please, all right, make it happen,
Yeah,
I know it's tough. I know it's tough.
All right.
I think,
But what are we
I'm
gonna
sure
do?
that
How long has that been that way? 25, 30 years?
yeah, they must be frustrated too. I mean, I get it, but you could, that's something now, spilt milk, and it's, you can't go back. But like you said, there's light posts there, but I guess they let them go and they're gone. Like, I don't know if the electric's still in the ground, if it works or not. And they could have put another light back up, but yeah, that's where it's at.
The planning board passed everything, they got preliminary approval. All they need left is the performance bond and a building permit, and they can start. So they're trying to market the place too.
Yeah.
Every month or two, there's somebody that wants to come in and talk about it, then that deal dies, and it's interest rate up 1.5 point, it's not feasible, there's all kinds of reasons.
I couldn't hear too clearly, but like about the traffic circle there, I know I was
Yep.
talking with Russ about it. Is that something that's still like on the thing to happen?
I think it's gonna happen, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would
And
say we
it-
don't really have a lot to do with that. 'Cause it's
No,
a
no,
state road, so.
but here's the thing, what I was saying is just true. After all this time, now you have this statue there, and I don't know how people are supposed to, go there to go see it, because, let's face it, a traffic circle, unless they put a crossing area somewhere where they got the lights on, and then now you're gonna have to hope that people, like, I don't know, that'll be
I
like
think
a.
there are crosswalks incorporated into the
But
design.
not into the statue, no.
Not into the statue.
It's too dangerous.
Yes.
Right.
Too dangerous.
And the statue will be removed while they do it and put it back on a new foundation. So it's going to be centered in the circle.
And it won't be damaged by
So,
construction.
so there's no thought of trying to move the statues to somewhere else?
No. It's going to be removed temporarily when they do the circle, and then it'll be centered in the circle.
The location of the statue there, unfortunately, because we loved that it was at the Arrowhead, but the location of the statue there near the Fishkill Creek and the Brinkerhoff House is particularly fitting, given that the understanding of the biography of Daniel Nimham is that he was born in the sacred waters of the Fishkill Creek near that site. We don't know exactly where because that was Native American tradition, but we wanted to locate it somewhere near a large vehicle thoroughfare so that as many motorists and residents would see it on a daily basis as possible. But we wanted it to be located near the Fishkill Creek.
So I think that a temporary location should be your front yard.
No.
So we can drive by and park and see it. What's wrong with that? Come on, you wanted the statue.
The other thing I just wanted to ask on the agendas or whatever, what is the intermunicipal thing with the building and fire code?
So I apologize. So we'll discuss that later. So the Village of Fishkill, I believe the building inspector retired, and we're going to help out the village until they find a building inspector, or we're trying to find a part-time building inspector that we'll hire, and they subcontract it from us. So those are the two things we're looking at. So we're going to help our neighbor out.
So we got to help the village again. Okay.
Takes a village.
No, I'm just kind of curious because
That's why. So
I don't know how.
Presumably they will be compensating us.
Yeah, and we're gonna have to amend that.
It's not the
All
only
right, thank you.
municipality
Yeah.
agreement.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, we got Kenya.
Team field.
Kendra?
Oh, no.
Hi, Kendra.
No, Kenya Gadsden. I just want to say thank you to the Highway Department and to the Buildings and Grounds. They did an amazing job in clearing the streets. And in my neighborhood, I have to walk the neighborhood regardless of the snow. And the truckers were like honking at me and waving at me. So I was on the sidewalk, so I know they were just trying to say hello. But it was a pleasure to see that the community was well taken care of. And the guys all did it with like a smile on their face, like they were happy. So kudos to Carmine Isfan and his team over there. It was good. Thank you.
You guys worked very hard for 2 days. For the weekend.
They're going to get a
All right,
workout
guys.
this weekend.
Okay, next item is we're going to go into executive session, so everybody has to leave. I'll make a motion to leave the regular course of business and go into executive session.
Second. To discuss?
Yes. I got an email from my town attorney. So we're going to go into executive session to discuss the employment history of particular persons and matters leading to the appointment, employment, or removal of a particular persons. So I'll make a motion to leave the regular course of business, go into executive session. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
This shouldn't be too long, folks. We'll let you know when you can come back in.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Nugent.
Turn off the microphones.
Yeah.
Pete.
Peter, all right. We got liaison member reports. Jackie?
I just, I have one thing. This weekend I had to drive down to Yonkers and all that snow, visit Mom. And on my way back, I stopped in the supermarket in Cold Spring, and I saw the guy Peter from the Fjord Trail.
Yes.
The CEO from the Fjord Trail. We talked a little bit about the trail, and particularly about the placement and extension of the parking lot onto adjacent, very close to adjacent homesteads. So we agreed to continue discussing the matter. I know that there's a lot of citizens that live there are concerned about not just the trail, but the parking and the traffic. So,
Absolutely.
He's my neighbor, and, we had a good moment to talk, and he's agreed to talk more about it. So I'll keep you informed on that.
Greg?
Yeah, I just wanted to take a moment to address a couple of things. First off, Monday was Martin Luther King Jr. Day. It's always a very important day as we honor perhaps the most important civil rights figure in American history. I learned about Martin Luther King for the first time as a very young boy, and had the chance to write a couple of reports about him during elementary school, as is commonly done. And he has, of course, had an indescribable impact on civil rights throughout our nation's history. I did just want to share one particular quote of his that I think applies to our town board and to all public servants, which is that no work is insignificant. All labor which uplifts humanity has dignity and importance and should be undertaken with painstaking excellence. So, for us here on the board and everyone who works for the town in any capacity, whether you are on our fantastic highway department, you're one of our brave men and women of our police department, if you work over in our rec building as an after-school counselor, you are part of something bigger that is meant to uplift our community, and you are part of something that matters. And thank you, Dr. King, for that quote and for all that you did for our country. The other thing that I wanted to address is something that sort of stemmed from our last town board meeting that has left something of a sour taste in my mouth. If you were here, you noticed there was a big discussion about the possibility of raising fees for our senior program. That discussion left me feeling a little sour in my mouth, because I think it could have led people who are not well versed in our town to come away with a negative opinion about one of our town employees. That would have been a very wrong opinion to have. And that individual is our rec director, Jay Maeda. Jay has, in his time as a rec director and for years beforehand as a rec department employee, been an invaluable member of the team at Fishkill, doing exactly what Dr. King said about uplifting people. Our rec department is the envy of rec departments in our area. Between our summer camp program, our after-school program, the countless weekend recreational things from basketball to other programming for children and families, and of course our senior center. There will always be times where individuals question certain policies, and those questions are always welcome, and it's this board who is responsible for answering those questions. And I feel like the way that the last meeting was handled by everyone, including us on the board, put our rec director, in whom we have nothing but pride and full confidence, could have cast him in a negative light that he did not deserve. So I wanted to come out and correct the record and make sure that it is known from this dais that this town board has the full faith and credit in Jay Maeda, in Lauren McMenamin, in Marianne Von Egypt, and the entire team at our rec department, as well as in our comptroller Maureen and the entire finance department, as they work together to put together budgets, fee schedules, etc. There is another item related to the rec department fee schedule this evening, and I'll discuss that more when we come to it. I also had the opportunity with Brian to meet with Jay and Maureen last week. I'll let Brian talk more about that when it gets to him. But that was a very friendly, frank, and productive conversation, and I think we are definitely going to continue the work that we're doing to bring our rec department to an even higher level, to provide even better services to the residents of Fishkill. And we all look forward to working with Jay to make that happen, because we couldn't do it without him.
Don?
A couple things. First, at our last meeting, former Councilwoman Kenya Gadsden invited all of us to attend the Martin Luther King celebration in Beacon, and I did attend that, and I would say it's quite spectacular. They did a great job, great food, great parade, great speeches, and great music. So I appreciate that invite. It was a great event. I did also attend the 3-day training for newly elected officials in Albany. I will tell you that I came back absolutely overwhelmed. I do have a lot to learn, and I'm doing all I can to keep up with what I need to do. They do run a great program. I also visited the senior center at the invite of Louise, and it was, again, I met a lot of seniors, had a lot of great conversations, and I look forward to coming back and talking with more of the seniors. Thank you. Brian?
All right. It was a really good meeting with Maureen and Jason and Greg, around the table, discussing the programs and a number of different things. The fees that are in the agenda tonight certainly have been scrutinized and worked over, correct me if I'm wrong, with Maureen and Jason, and you know, they're accurate, they're appropriate, and they cover costs, and they're raised to the minimal amount, but enough that needs to happen. As far as the senior fees, one thing that I did, Ozzy, you may have misspoken at the last meeting.
What?
Pay attention. I'm talking to you right now.
Okay, better.
All right, because Greg and I made sure we got that room tax, and yes, room tax money can be applied to things like senior fees. So another reason to go from 2.5 to 5% at an appropriate time, right, Greg?
Yeah.
Yes, amen. All right, moving on, because we've gone long here tonight, but I have full faith and confidence in Jason. I know the people in the rec center do. I know all the seniors do. And the staff does, and that was an emotion-filled meeting. You know, it happens, and but you know, we're moving on, and I'm very, very glad that we have Jason. Let's see. You and Greg and I attended Becky Tompkins' retirement party, and that was thrown by Cooper. Farm to table, Class C location, great food, packed, all for Becky. And it was a great time, and a great job, Cooper, in organizing that for her after all her years of work. And that was a very special event. There's no doubt about it. So yeah, we a couple of us on the board did attend the Texaco hearing here at Town Hall. And you know, my eyes are rolling in the back of my head when they're talking about all that. Oh my God, the technical. But I will tell you this: someone pointed this out to me as having a conversation about it after the meeting a couple of days later. I had to get the fog worn off my brain, but he was saying, you know, Chevron owns it. Chevron makes in excess of $3 billion a quarter in profits. Why the heck doesn't Chevron dedicate some good money and get this over with once and for all? I mean, where is the PR campaign? Maybe, I don't know, maybe this is a letter we need to write to say this is going on for 25 years. How long has Chevron owned this thing?
Chevron bought Texaco and inherited it, so.
Right, that's right.
And before that, it was, it goes all the way back to where they did dye for the Civil War uniforms for the Union Army. So they've been dumping stuff there for
ever.
I mean, I don't think anyone's blaming Texaco Chevron specifically for the situation over there in terms of its creation.
But they own it, and
but it continues to exist because they've done nothing since they
make $3.5 billion or so a quarter. Come on, let's shove $50 million into this thing and get it over with. Well, I know they're not going to do it, but it's maybe something we can, as a board, write them a letter.
Just real quick. So it's a 125-acre parcel, Texaco, the old Texaco Research Center at the Glenham Hamlet. There's about 90 acres on the mountain. So what they're going to do is break down the remedial portion of what can be built there. Basically, it'll be 3 parts: residential, commercial, or industrial. Currently, it's zoned industrial. So if somebody wanted to put a factory in there or something industrial, they would be able to do that pretty quick. I just don't see it being cost effective to do that in that area because it's kind of small. Commercial and residential, it would have to be by town board resolution, town board zoning change. So as Mr. Nugent spectacularly has defended in the last 6 years, the Rolling Hills case, we affirm that a municipality has a right to enforce its zoning laws. So the town of Fishkill has the upper hand when it comes to Texaco. But just my personal opinion, I don't see anything happening 10, 15, 20 years.
They're not going to do anything.
Yeah, I don't see any movement there for a long time.
I mean, the guys give the presentations. I'm sorry if you're watching this, but you got a steady job.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's gonna retire. All right. Anything else, Brian?
I'm good.
All right. So only thing I have is Mr. Nugent, I have a request for a traffic light at Route 90 and Castle Point Road. How do I go? We just did one for the traffic speed study north of the bridge, right? A couple months ago.
Yes.
So how will we go about doing a study? Do we have to pass a resolution and get to the state? That's what we did before.
Is there a state road involved?
It's a state road, Route 90.
It would definitely be a state jurisdiction of the DOT, you know, asking, it'd be a request usually, And
So we pass a resolution, and you write a letter to the state, is that how it works?
yeah, I think we do a resolution authorizing you to, contact state DOT regarding the
Brian, I would
potential.
actually suggest perhaps holding off on that. I was going to bring this up under old and new business, but I spoke today with Wappinger Supervisor Cavassini, who is working with Rebecca Edwards, the town supervisor of Poughkeepsie, and he's going to be hosting a information meeting on this on Monday, February 2nd.
That's for
which
Route-
I've been on Route 9D.
No, that's for Route 9, not 9D.
Wait, this is for Route 9?
This is for Route 9D.
9D.
Not Route 9. What Supervisor Cavassini said was for Route 9.
Oh, when I spoke to him today, I thought it was Route 9D.
Yeah, no, you and I are going to have a meeting with him about 9D.
Right.
But let me point out a little bit of information I learned a while ago about putting a traffic light right there.
It failed before.
It failed before because you've got one thing that splits out for traffic to merge on going south.
Yeah, you got that little
And they
Y.
said that the state wouldn't do it because of the way that island is structured. But give it a whirl,
No, that's what I want. Listen, I know it's failed before.
Well, I mean,
Citizens
I think
ask
the
for
obvious way
requests.
to resolve that is to get rid of the split.
I think the best way to help the citizen is to pass a resolution, see if the state would reconsider.
Okay.
And we move on.
Yep.
So what I'll do is I'll work with Mr. Nugent's office to get that resolution prepared for the next meeting.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. All right. So the next thing we're up is discussions. Discussing a resolution to accept the resignation of part-time police sergeant Jennifer Farrell. She was involved in a bad car accident, and unfortunately, she had to retire due to that. We're going to miss her. She was a very good cop, one of the best ones we had. Next up is discussion of resolution to...
Comment on that?
Yes, sir.
I had the privilege of having conversations with Sergeant Farrell, and she is a great cop, and she will be missed.
Yes, very much.
Okay, that's a good one. Discussion of resolution to author issuance of a request for proposal for Highway Department garage painting. They want to paint the building. Everybody okay with that?
Sure.
Next up is discussion of Little Red Schoolhouse. Mr. Nugent, are you up to speed on that?
Yeah, we actually waiting. We haven't gotten a response. We reached out to the state.
You did,
I
right?
think it was over to the DEC last.
Yes.
Because the education department indicated it went to DEC.
Yeah.
So that was our last contact, but we haven't gotten a response yet from them.
Is that, I know we put Steve Gaba on this. Did he give you?
Yeah, he passed on his
Okay,
information and who he last contacted, so we kind of picked it up from there.
Yeah, the schoolhouse was only about 800 square feet. It wasn't that big, and it was in
Right.
operation for like 100 years, and it did from kindergarten to high school, so it was...
Yeah, I think it'd be a question of whether the state just wants to deed the property to the town. I
Yeah.
don't know that they have any purpose for it unless you know otherwise.
No, I'd love to get it for $1. That's the goal, and get it in our inventory in the future, maybe get some volunteers to build it.
I'm gonna go for 75 cents.
75 cents?
We have to let the man negotiate.
Yes, okay, that's what we got him here for. All right, so Cooper, let's table this till the first March meeting. Next up is discussion of the Roundabout Rural Cemetery Association funding. Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do a resolution for that. I think we have an old one.
Mm-hmm.
Resolution, I gotta make sure I write that down. Discussion.
Help finding that in IQM too, I can help you out with that.
Okay. Next up is discussion authorizing an extra copier for the tax receiver department. It's in her budget. We okay with that?
Yeah.
Yes.
6, discussion of resolution enter into an intermunicipal agreement with the Village of Fishkill and shared staff building, fire, code, and enforcement. Everybody's okay with that, but the finance department gave me different rates for salaries.
I saw that right
So
here.
we'll make, did I put that in consent, Cooper? All right, so I'm gonna have to do a real quick amendment to that when we get to it. Discussion of extending comp time. Currently, I think, what is our comp time now, Cooper, 2 weeks?
Yeah, within the pay period.
So, so we have salaried employees, the deputy clerk, the deputy tax receiver, and Jason, so.
Secretary.
Our secretaries. So I was thinking about extending the eligibility from comp time to maybe 2 to 6 weeks. Is that too much, too little?
I'm not really schooled on that to make a judgment. I don't.
I'm
So-
very much in favor of extending that. As a former salaried town employee, essentially, the way that it always works is that our pay periods run from, Monday to Monday. It's a 2-week pay period. And if a salaried individual, someone who doesn't collect overtime for working additional hours, ends up working more than 8 hours in a given day or finds themselves in a position where they would end up working more than 40 hours per week, with the permission of their department head, they can modify their schedule through comp time, essentially, during that pay period, so that way they don't end up with more than 40 hours. This proposal, I suppose we would need to, work on our language regarding pay reporting, because you really shouldn't be reporting more than 40 hours in a week. But if we had some method of tracking earned time or comp time out past a particular pay period, I'm very much in favor of extending employees that grace, because there's always the possibility that the time that you end up having to work those extra 2 to 3 hours beyond the 40 that you would be punching in for is the final Friday of a pay period.
It happens all the time.
I know, it happened to me quite a bit.
So what do you think is a decent?
Well, I think we would need to defer to Mr. Nugent on language, because.
Well, I'm talking weeks. How many weeks?
I'd be fine for it being up to 3 pay periods, 6 weeks.
6 weeks.
I think
What's
that. I think that
4 weeks.
Maybe it's 1 month. I'm not too particular about it, as long as it's more than just that 1 pay period window, or I should say the same
Other
pay
municipalities,
period
Mr.
window.
Nugent, deal
Say
with
that
this?
again?
You have any other municipalities that deal with this?
Comp time, I mean, in general, yeah, but.
Like, how many weeks do they usually allow them to take it?
A lot of them are the same, in the same pay period. Some carry, they're allowed to bank time,
What does bank time mean?
meaning they put comp time on the books, to take.
In perpetuity, or? is
No,
it-
usually it's like within that year, it has to be closed out, but in other words, they could carry comp time and.
Can we
use
do
it.
that for salary employees? I thought that
Yeah,
was,
you could have comp time. I mean, there's a max usually of 240 hours. That's the absolute max somebody could accumulate.
how about
But that's, and then you could have an option to cash out or use it, or, there's a lot of variety. It's just up to you on how you want to do it. The only cap is the 240.
that's a little too much for me, 240.
Yeah, that.
And you don't have to go that high. You
I
can set it
can't
low.
imagine a situation in which a town employee would accrue 240 hours of comp time in a calendar year.
Non-salary employees, I have to approve their rollover time. They do get
Right.
60, 70, one was at 90, it happens.
Right.
But the salary employees I have
Right.
not dealt with.
Right, that's what I'm referring to. Salaried employees, I can't imagine.
Could we have a separate line in the employee handbook to allow salary employees to have a max cap, no more than 50 hours? Can we just do that?
Yeah, you could do any number below the 240.
We would also need to work about implementation for how to track those hours.
Right. Through
Because
Paycom.
as I understand it right now, through the town's payroll system, through Paycom, there is no function within Paycom that establishes, earned time / comp time as a separate trackable category. So we would need to work, that isn't something that's necessarily difficult. We would just need to work with finance office and payroll in terms of how we track and report that. So that might be a conversation for Maureen and Jason.
Yeah, and then you need a cash out point, so if it's the end of the year, that they either use it or lose it by whatever date.
Let's say 8
Or
hours.
I should say, you could use it or get cashed out, but in other
What would
words.
be a decent number, Brian? 70 hours, 60, 50? No, that's too much, what?
That's a lot.
Yes.
There's this Paycom.
Yeah, yes, so all town employees track
There's
their
two.
hours using a time card function that tracks their hours. That is already done. But the way that it works right now is that salaried employees, if you were to punch, say, more than 40 hours in a week, or more than 80 hours in a pay period, there's no function to award you additional time off for those extra hours that you worked. You simply would have worked them, receive no additional pay, receive no additional vacation time or comp time as a result of
done.
it. It's gone.
Right, but that was the narrow down to like time management, right? Because that means everybody could run over their, whatever the 80 hours in the pay period if they wanted to.
It would need to be approved by the department head. That's already been a policy. When I was working for the town supervisor as his secretary, if I was in a situation where for instance, I attended town board meetings and worked as the secretary, sitting next to the town clerk for town board meetings.
Let me
So
see,
Those would result in me working more than 40 hours in a week.
You said a bank, is that what it's called? Time bank?
I'm saying bank it. Do they ever get paid for it, or are they just taking it as time off?
I would only give it to him as compensatory time.
Right.
Time, okay.
Yeah, we're not talking about paying them additional
Yeah,
funds
so then
for
you
it.
would
It'd be
set
additional time off.
an amount up to this many hours can be held till the end, during the course of the year, which must be used, by whatever date you
Right.
pick.
Mhm.
Usually December 31st.
And that, we would need to establish that would be paid time off.
All right, is everybody okay
As
with?
opposed to unpaid time.
Yeah, everybody okay with 50 hours total?
Yeah.
I think that's more than, how much, 40 then?
Yeah, it's certainly more. 25.
You said 35, you said 25?
Yeah.
I'll say
We can-
30.
30 as a compromise is perfectly fine.
Okay.
You can always change that if it
All
becomes
right,
a problem.
let me see what has to go through the,
Who checks that they actually work those hours to begin with?
The department head has to approve
Yes.
the hours for their departmental employees.
Who's
Yes.
checking to make sure that they actually work those times?
I,
with the pay comp.
should we specify that that rule doesn't apply for department heads?
Why wouldn't it?
That's how it's been. The controller or the building inspector,
Are these the people who we'd be giving that to?
it would be salaried employees.
Okay.
Because right now they have to use it within a pay period.
Right.
I'm just talking about checking that they're actually working the hours that were put in.
Understood.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm thinking 30
Well,
hours.
we could always, again, we could always defer if Mr. Nugent could send us a memo about best practices for reporting and tracking, you know, that would be,
Okay, all right, let's go to the next
that would
one.
be valuable to us in our decision-making process.
Next up is discussion of resolution to amend the town fee schedule for recreation. Greg, that's your baby with Mr. Rye.
Yeah. Brian, you want me to take it away on this one? You can chime in where you need?
Absolutely.
Okay, so, as Brian mentioned, we had a meeting with our comptroller and our rec director, Jay Maeda, last week. We talked about a number of things, one of which was to alleviate Louise's concern earlier, establishing that there will be no increase on the rates for our senior program. That is not going to be changing. There will be no amended fee schedule for our seniors. It's off the docket. Part of our conversation involved, you know, a pledge from Brian and myself, and I think we speak for the board, that if there is one particular group that we understand the need to provide our support to, among all others, it's veterans and it's seniors. So when it comes to the senior center, if that department needs additional funding to be able to provide all of its programming, that's a burden that this town board is willing to assume as we go through our budget process to make things as accessible as possible for our seniors and our veterans, many of whom are living on fixed incomes and don't have you know, large amounts of cash that they can put towards recreational activities. That said, our meeting was very important in that it established a very important thing that for Brian and I and our understanding of how the rec department functions, which is that the town board's budgeting for the rec department provides overhead and operational support, meaning that what the town budget pays for are departmental salaries, insurance, facility maintenance costs. And the individual programs hosted by the rec center, whether that's the summer camp, whether that is the basketball program, you name it, pay for themselves in terms of their individual programmatic expenses. So if the basketball program needs to hire referees or a videographer for their tournaments, those costs are tracked under the heading of the basketball program. For the summer camp, if there are vendors coming to bring food, if they're going on a trip somewhere and they need to rent a bus, if they're taking the kids to see a baseball game or a show or to a museum, the cost of those tickets are all factored in, and then each of those programs are totaled up and divided by the number of participants, the participant slots in the program, and that is how the fee schedule is calculated. That is a very sound function. So that way, one program is not subsidizing another program. That's not how it functions. There is no overcharging of one program to pay for functions for a different program. Every program operates independently, and the fee schedule is modified on a yearly or every other year basis, depending on the expected costs based on invoices, estimates, vendor contracts that the rec department enters into, et cetera, and then those are all tabulated and divided out to determine the fee schedule. Understanding that procedure, that each program's fee schedule is specific to what that program costs, independent of the overhead and operational expenses that the town board provides through the budget. I am very satisfied with how it was explained to us, the methodology of how these fee schedules are calculated.
Right.
And I am very much in support of adopting the amended fee schedule that Jay has put forward. That does not include and will not include any fee schedule change for our seniors.
And he works with our comptroller, you know, so it's well thought out.
Absolutely.
The majority of, note that I have, the majority of the recreation programs are self-supporting and contribute towards offsetting cost, which would be in these fees that you see tonight. And they are raised pretty much every year to 2 years, you know, because those costs are all, you know, everything increases, right?
Right.
And so his thinking was, okay, well, we haven't increased anything for the seniors for a year, how about $1? And you see where that got us. So
Right.
we certainly are going to work and will offset those costs, and that's
Yeah.
good. And there are other places where the rec center is budgeted and everybody works, and there are no fees, like the Easter egg hunt. You know,
Those free family events.
The entire town is there. There are other things like that. So kudos to that staff and what they do.
Absolutely.
Okay, we're done with the fee schedule?
Yeah.
I wanted to make a few comments. I think we had talked about non-resident versus residents. One of the things that I think that you guys were trying to discuss during the meeting was that residents pay taxes and our taxes go into these programs. According to Maureen's email, the rec department receives approximately $400,000 to $500,000 in annual support from the town. And for the senior section of that, in 2025, it was $25,000. For 2026, the support is projected to be nearly $43,000. So that's the gap that we're looking to fill, approximately $43,000, which certainly we could do that with some taxes, but I would hope that we would do other things like looking, like they said, to get people to, you know, volunteer food to some of our, you know, our senior parties. We should be looking at grants.
And sponsorships.
Hotel room tax.
Yeah,
and Grace mentioned.
Gonna keep
so
saying it.
That's the number that we're kind of looking
Gonna
to
keep saying it.
fill, so you guys know.
And of course, looking for non-taxpayer ways to
Exactly.
offset that
Exactly.
is certainly encouraged. But when it comes to our seniors and keeping costs down, if that does mean that we have to increase nominally the support that the senior center specifically receives through our budget, that's a cost that I'm certainly willing to incur. And if we have to, you know, make decisions regarding that amount, I'm going to advocate very strongly that the senior center be funded to the extent possible so that our seniors' rates never need to change.
I agree, and you know,
Correct.
hopefully.
Yep, I see it.
Guys, it doesn't
I know
work
you
like
love
that.
your hotel tax.
It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, it does.
No.
Yeah, it
No,
does.
no, it doesn't.
I
It's
got it.
not-
I
It's
got
not,
it
it's
from
not
the
extra money,
comptroller.
it's not extra money to spend like, all
I
right.
got
You
it
know
from
what
the
we need to
comptroller.
get.
All right, so Cooper,
Yes.
I'm sorry, discussion item number 7, the comp time, just table that to the next meeting. I forgot to mention that. Privilege of the floor for agenda items only. Anybody got anything to say?
No.
Come on, Louise.
Louise Daniele. What Jackie just explained, I think it would have been easier for everybody to understand if the rec director actually came and did a presentation, because I still don't understand where the hole is. Because if they're sitting in a room and other people are in a room, they shouldn't have to, like, if you're telling me that they have to kick in to pay the heat, show me the heat bill. Show me how much they actually paid, because I want to see it broken down. Because if it wasn't raised for 10 years, now all of a sudden you're raising it, I have questions. And just you guys saying, you know, hey, everything looks good, doesn't cut it by me. I was asked by a taxpayer who couldn't attend tonight to speak on their behalf on a matter. I agree with their concerns, so I agreed to ask their questions. It's regarding Resolution 10378, approving continued retention of Sharon Mitchell as consultant to the town comptroller. The questions are, where is the money coming from? If an agreement ended at the end of 2025, why would you budget more when you already have budgeted very large raises for employees in the finance department? In the resolution, there is no cap of how many hours or what amount of money she can make. How many hours were logged in for the consultant in 2025? If her responsibilities in 2025 were to assist the new comptroller with the budget, which has been completed, what are her responsibilities in 2026? Who does she report to, and why does it say that she is able to do work for the comptroller, supervisor, and any other town official? When there are people being compensated with 21% raises, they should not need assistance doing their jobs. jobs, especially when they have been given such large raises? How can a department lecture other towns' departments on fiscal responsibility and prudence all while handing out tens of thousands in raises and retaining a consultant at the rate of $130 an hour? As our prior comptroller, this consultant only made approximately $58 an hour. What determined that she was worth more than twice that amount now? How many hours has she worked this year already, and she was not approved to work by the board? Last year, the supervisor said she would only work 2 hours a day. That would be $13,520. If she worked 2 days a week, that would be over $100,000. 20 hours a week for the year, $135,200. If she worked a full 40 hours a week, that would be $270,000, $270,400. All of that, what I just said, was from a taxpayer who couldn't come to speak, and he really wanted me to express this, and I agreed with him, so I agreed to speak on his behalf. There was also another taxpayer that asked, why do other municipalities have high-paid comptrollers and they do not need a high-paid consultant to the comptroller? As for my opinion, anyone who has heard me speak at the meeting since I've been coming since 2018 knows I do not like consultants. If you can't do your job properly without a consultant doing it for you, maybe you're not qualified to do that job, the one that you are being paid a lot of money for. But lastly, as I spoke at the meeting regarding requested increases in senior fees, when it is not budget time and there is no supporting documentation to show what your deficit is or how many increases or how any increases would bring you out of that deficit. I think it is fiscally irresponsible that the board already has been letting the consultant work without approval. That's number one. And when you're being told the rec department is down, this is unnecessary spending that could have been used to offset whatever alleged deficits there are in the senior center. You should thank her for her help that she gave us last year, but not sign a renewal. Instead, the workers in that department can do all of their jobs that they're getting paid very nicely to do. That's it. Like I said, Greg had his opinion of what happened at the last meeting. I think the people here and myself have our own opinions as well. Those people came on their own. I didn't tell them to come, and they spoke freely of how they felt. And if somebody else interpreted it that they were trying to pick on one person, that is not what they did. And that wouldn't even have happened if there was a presentation by that person about why they need an increase and what they need to cover. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Louise. I appreciate it. Mr. Rye, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I do. I support the Sharon renewal, and I'll tell you why. I had the same thought about, the expense, et cetera, and so I asked our comptroller, I said, tell me about the necessity. And I think if I remember correctly, we have a very competent comptroller that we hired of the highest caliber. However, I do believe this is her first municipal experience. I don't believe she's been involved in government, so she still has some questions, and especially when the audit comes up and a number of big items. And I said, well, how often do you use Sharon? And it's very infrequent, and it is to help her. And she doesn't anticipate it going much past, if I may be incorrect on this, but I don't think past the middle of the year. And Sharon's reporting time is, I think, as need be and not like all the time, and she's not trying to be. Sharon's, from what I gather in speaking with her, main priority is her mother and retirement. Yep. So, but she's doing this to help our comptroller, who will be gaining all this knowledge and will soon not need her. So I'm in support.
I remember when the previous controller quit, with like 4 days before the
audit.
No, before payroll.
Right.
That was a big hole, and we called her, and she came through for the residents of the town of Fishkill.
Yeah.
So it's, I understand the concerns. I agree, and we do have disagreements, believe me. But she is helping the new controller. Our master auditor, our accountant our senior accountant retired. So that's a vacancy that we have to fill. So we need some help to get through that process too. The controller asked us to ask the outside auditor who does our annual reviews to be prepared by March so we can get that done. So it's a very, very busy finance department. Raises were mentioned, and the raises were mentioned because we're cross-training people. So when the previous controller left quickly, it was a scary time because we just didn't know what to do, and Ms. Mitchell stepped in and helped us big time. So we're cross-training people to avoid that to happen in the future. I do understand Louisa's concerns. Brian has the same concerns, I do too. But she's well worth the resources to help us get through this period where we formally and thoroughly train Maureen. So that's how I see it.
And Supervisor, this furthers conversations which we've had both here at the dais and in private about the need, generally speaking, to have more individuals in our town who are cross-trained, to have more sort of operational redundancy, to make it possible so that in a contingency situation where an employee who performs a particular function on a particular day has an emergency or isn't in the office, or in the event that an employee experiences a prolonged absence, whether it's a leave of absence or a medical situation, we want to make sure that the essential work of the town doesn't fall by the wayside, or that the quality of that work drops. So having as many employees currently working for the town trained in as many different functions as possible is a worthwhile enterprise. And if that does mean that we end up compensating these employees a little more, not only in recognition of the variety of work that they're doing, but as an incentive for them to keep applying their talents here at the town of Fishkill, as opposed to taking higher paying jobs in the private sector, is so often the issues facing municipal governments, I do see that as a worthwhile expense. And Sharon's insight into our town finances is unparalleled. And for as fantastic as Maureen has been in her time with the town, no one understands the books of the town of Fishkill the way that Sharon Mitchell does, because of how long and how well she ran those books. So again, for the extent that it is necessary and for however long it is necessary, she has my support. And so does the entire finance office, because they do fantastic work.
Okay, anything else?
I'd like to just add, I would have liked to have seen a contract for this, but I mean, having known Sharon for so many years, I'm willing to waive that, but I would think that we should maybe put a cap on number of hours or the amount of money that we're going to put into this for the year, maybe $35,000, $40,000.
How about we put a number, and if I need to get more for it, I come back to the town board for further authorization.
I think that's a very good idea.
Reasonable.
Is that something that perhaps Mr. Nugent could draft for us in terms of a contract?
Talk to Maureen first, get an idea of the hours, maybe.
Give me a max to come back to the.
Well,
no, we got to do it now.
Let's approve the resolution tonight, but let's do so with an agreement that either for our next town board meeting or maybe the second town board meeting in February, we prepare a contract.
Yeah, I mean,
No. We could say.
We just said that it may not go through the entire year.
So let's say 40,000. If it goes over 40,000, I have to get authorization from the town board to go over 40,000.
I think that's reasonable.
Yeah.
So I'll amend that.
We'll just amend that resolution.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, we're done with the resolutions? I'm sorry, we're done with consent? All right.
No, we haven't gotten to consent yet. That was privilege of the floor.
The privilege of the floor is done, so I got consent, so I got two things with consent. So Cooper, consent agenda? Yeah, I'm ready on consent, yep. So, sure, can you? Absolutely.
Oh.
Absolutely. Sure.
So Jackie, Councilwoman Guardini, you mentioned 25,000 versus 43,000, right? So does the 43,000?
You're talking about
the senior, whatever you read, right?
Subsidies that were going to be.
Right. So 43,000 versus
Like
25,000. So are you subtracting that number? Are you subtracting the 25 from the 43?
I'm telling you the difference between what we used last year to help support the senior, directly just the senior stuff, versus the projection for this year, which is going to be 43.
So there's
not what subtract 23 from 43. It's going up. Oh, it's almost doubling.
So there's an actual breakdown that you got to look at with 25,000 listed down in terms of expenses, and now you got to look at a breakdown with 43,000 with the intended expenses,
Just
right?
so you know, I've asked for more financials. I haven't gotten them. So
Right.
I don't know
So
what the
here's my challenge, right? This is not personal to any particular person. When you guys start using names, right, it becomes very personal when you use names. The way we're looking at it is we're just looking at the numbers on the paper, and then we're trying to gain an understanding of how that came about. So when you start tying it to stuff or people's names, then that's how people get all offended, and they're in their feelings, their panties is ruffled, and then they're writing not nice things on social media. It becomes real personal. So for us, I'm just trying to figure out the number, because from what I understand and what I understood when I was on your side of the table is that, say there's a function and it's $15. The $15 is covering everything for that day in terms of the food, the beverage, right? But what it's not covering is what used to be charged is like, the heat in the building, the lights for that day. So what I'm thinking, what I was thinking the whole time, is that the cost of this $16 covers this, but by the time the money is then shifted over, the additional cost in terms of the light and the gas and all that other stuff, that's added on. So then there's going to be a deficit, because the $16 is only going to cover what you're looking at, but you've never charged me for the lights and the gas. That's just I'm just using that as a.
May I? Just because let me just break this down.
Shortly break it down, because I'm tired.
The numbers that the councilwoman mentioned is to indicate that the senior center is the only program run by the rec department which does not cover its operating expenses through the fee schedule. That department runs a deficit. It runs a deficit. It ran a deficit in 2025 of $25,000, which was subsidized through the town board's commitment through the budget. This year, that deficit is looking to be approximately $43,000. We'll know exactly what that is at the end of the year, and if we need to move a few $100s here or there to be exactly correct, we'll do that. But what the point of all this, and frankly, the reason why Jay was proposing what was, in terms of actual dollars, a modest increase. Percentage-wise, he was doubling the fee. But if we're talking about going from $1 to $2, it, on its face, does not seem like a large increase, because he was trying to reduce that deficit. We're trying to reduce the increase from $25,000 to $43,000. He thought that increase, Jay thought that increase of from $1 to $2 was something which would not be met with objection. No one on this board or the finance office or the rec department expected the reaction that we received, and because we received that reaction, we decided to cancel that. We nixed it. No one has a problem with that whatsoever.
So
everyone is excited about keeping our fees low for our seniors.
So again, this is not about the rec director or the people that work there. It's only about the math, right? That's it. So, because again, people are getting a little offended.
I'm just using names because it's
right, but I don't want to use names, especially with me here, because they get on social media and they get outside themselves, and then I have to tell people to cut it out, right? So I just want to stick to the math. So when you're telling me that there's a deficit and I want to actually close in on the deficit, I'm actually giving you the numbers to show you where I'm at, and then I'm showing you that this $2 increase, how it is going to impact what the deficit is. So you guys got to look at that paper, because I was sitting where you was and I never even got that paper. And so we're still asking for that paper, and I don't know how many years I haven't been on the board. So that is what we're trying to understand, is that if there is a deficit, I already learned that the money to operate the rec center comes out of the general fund, and so technically they don't really have a budget. That's what I was told when I sat where you sat. So now they have this budget, and we're okay with living with it, but we want to see how the math is mathing, and we can't figure that out. And so that is what we're trying to get at. So again, it's not personal to the person who has to do the math, but the person or whoever they are should feel obligated to show the math so that we could all say that these numbers add up. And so this $2 increase, wherever it's going to be, is going to now put a dent in or close in on the deficit. If you can't do that, then it makes no sense. So if all of y'all are sitting there and you still don't know that this $2 increase is going to impact this $40,000 deficit, or half of that, if you do the 42 minus the 25, which is the difference of the increase, then that makes no sense either, right? Because you're not closing in on the deficit.
You're making absolute sense.
Right, so that's what we're trying to get at. That's the
Right.
point.
But the only thing that I can say to this and why it is so difficult to have those numbers is because we are in January and the budget for many departments can be locked in. For instance, the supervisor's office budget is particular. The amount is budgeted for what certain supply demands might be, and for salaries and insurance, et cetera, and that is pretty much set, because whoever's holding the position of secretary is getting paid a certain amount, and the supervisor is being compensated a certain amount, and insurance is going to cost a certain amount, and all of those things are fixed. The rec department is a very different thing, because costs fluctuate not only during the course of the year or year on year, but from program to program, and each of those programs is determined by its own fee schedule.
Right, Greg,
that
you're
operates
preaching to the choir.
So-
Some of
so
those
in terms of
programs
getting
make
me-
a
so
very,
show me where-
very
show me where the
high
deficit is.
amount of money. Like
Try to
those
look-
those programs
try
are
to get more
profitable.
information.
So I'm not really talking about those. So I don't
Right.
need to discuss those. I just want
We
to
need
hone
more
in on what
information.
you guys get what I'm saying, right?
Yes.
You need the math so the math can be mathed, and then the math needs to be explained to us so that we understand it. And it's not personal to the person who has to do the work. It is
Nothing's
just that the
personal
people need to know what the numbers are. Do we get that?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay. Anybody else?
Can you read what you said in the beginning that you added to the meeting, because I didn't hear those?
Yeah, I'll do that when I do consent. All right, so, I'm sorry. I'll do that when I do item special consideration. Next up is consent agenda. Cooper, we have two small amendments. Number 3, for the retention for the consultant. The last line where it says $130 an hour to a max of $40,000. Just add to a max of $40,000 without further town board approval. So that means if she goes over 40, you have to get permission from the town board. All right, then the second one would be item number 5, the intermunicipal agreement with the Village of Fishkill. Do you already have those?
Yeah, so I borrowed the attachments, but basically what it is just amending it to include the updated rates, so basically addendum, like the new
Okay.
updated addendum needs to be attached to it.
All right, so I'll make so number 5, the bill inspector for help in the village will be $88 an hour. The part-time clerk will be $39.31 per hour. So I'd like to amend the consent agenda for those 2 items. I'll present that as a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now I'd like to vote on the consent agenda. I'll make a motion to vote on the consent agenda. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Cooper, that is the consent agenda as amended.
thank you, Greg. Next up is the resolution for the fee schedule for the recreation center. Now therefore be resolved that the town board of the town of Fishkill hereby adopts the proposed recreation department program fees as attached. Present as a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So Louise, I'm going to read them all individually. So what do you have, 3 or 4?
Did you just hire somebody at $88 an hour?
No. No, that would.
Understand what you just said there.
We amended the intermunicipal agreement between the Village of Fishkill and the Town of Fishkill. Their building inspector left, so while we do the inspections for them, our building inspector will be paid $88 an hour from the village. And the part-time clerk that we have will be paid $39.31 an hour. So we're getting paid
That's
for
how much
doing the
the
work.
village is paying us
I thought
to
it had-
loan
That's
us.
salary and
or to loan
benefits
them,
All that stuff, yeah.
yeah, to loan them our staff while they find a new inspector.
How many I had 4, right, or 3?
Give me a second. 1, 2,
It should be 3 resolutions.
3 resolutions.
3? And the amendment, okay, so that was the 4th, okay.
Yes, yeah, the 4th one was the amendment to the consent item.
All right, so the first one will be ID number 10395, resolution authorizing legal services by special town counsel, Mr. Nugent. So this will be in the Guler case. This will be now therefore be resolved. Section 1, all whereas paragraphs are incorporated herein and reference as through. Number 2, special counsel fees for Ferrick, Nugent, McCarthy, PLLC, to appear on behalf of the town of Fishkill. The town of Fishkill Police Department under index number 20255-57192 as authorized in the legal agreement. and the town board resolution. Number 3, the event of the town's insurance carrier determines that the claim is covered under the town's insurance. Special counsel shall be authorized to provide any necessary assistance to insurance defense counsel on behalf of the town in the Guler proceeding. Number 4, the town supervisor is authorized to execute any documents necessary to carry out the provisions of this resolution. Number 5, the resolution shall be effective immediately. Anybody have any questions?
Nope.
No. Presented as a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next up is ID number, special consideration ID number 10396, resolution to name the new deputy tax receiver. Whereas the town of Fishkill currently has 2 deputy tax receivers, and whereas there will be a staffing change with one of the deputy tax receivers, and whereas Lauren Kalmixey will no longer hold the title of deputy tax receiver, and Jason Gilbert will be added as a deputy tax receiver, and now therefore resolved, the town board of the town of Fishkill hereby authorizes Jason Gilbert to be deputy tax receiver, and be it further resolved, the town supervisor and his authorized designee be hereby authorized and directed to take all necessary actions convenient to give full effect of this resolution, and be it further resolved, this resolution shall take effect immediately. Any discussion?
Nope.
No.
Presented as a motion? Can I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So we're going to add a 3rd deputy here. So resolution set in public hearing to consolidate establishing a 3rd deputy tax receiver in the town, ID number 10397. Whereas the town of Fishkill currently has a receiver of taxes and 2 deputy receivers as taxes are provided for in New York State law number 20. And whereas the town desires to establish a 3rd deputy tax receiver position to assist in carrying out the functions of the Office of the Receiver of Taxes, and whereas the town desires to adopt a local law to establish such 3rd deputy receiver of taxes position in the term, now therefore it is resolved as follows. Section 1, all whereas paragraphs incorporated herein by reference as those set forth in full. Number 2, Section 2, the town board hereby sets the public hearing for February 18th at 7 p.m. Therefore, soon after. Section 3, the town clerk is authorized to direct take any actions to post and publish public hearing notice in accordance with town code and state law. Section 4, the town's legal counsel is authorized to prepare and draft local law to be considered at the public hearing and provide such draft of the local law to the town board members and the town clerk no later than Friday, February 6, 2026. Number 5, Section 5, this resolution shall be effective immediately. Any discussion?
Yeah, I just wanted to explain these 2 moves.
Sure.
To the residents. So our tax collection is beginning today. Obviously, collecting property taxes is an incredibly important function. We have our new town clerk sitting here with us, and it is the priority of the town board to make the collection process as smooth and as efficient and as accurate as possible, and we have a very talented staff. However, as we mentioned earlier regarding our finance office and cross-training, the town board recognizes the benefit of having as many employees trained in different functions as possible. Unfortunately, when it comes to tax receiver, we're limited by law currently as to how many tax receiver deputies we're allowed to have working under the department head, the tax receiver. So to facilitate this, we're going to be appointing an individual to the position of deputy tax receiver. Our deputy clerk, who began working with our town clerk earlier this month, is being temporarily removed from those responsibilities and will be the deputy clerk to Cooper, our town clerk. And at our 2nd February meeting, we will hold a public hearing on a draft local law to expand the number of deputy tax receivers we have from 2 to 3, at which time I believe it is our intention to reestablish our deputy clerk as our 3rd deputy tax receiver. This makes it possible for us to handle the more than 8,500 tax bills, which the town has to process in as few as 30 days. It's an incredibly difficult thing to accomplish because it needs to be correct to the penny, it needs to be processed efficiently, and there are a lot of laws and procedures and technical components that go into it. Our tax receiver does a fantastic job, our town clerk is doing a fantastic job, and we want to make sure that this tax collection goes as quickly as possible and to have as many people capable to provide assistance to that process as we can. So we're looking forward to that public hearing and having as much what we were referring to as operational redundancy, as many people capable of performing a particular function as possible so that the efficiency and the quality of work that we do stays at the high level that the residents demand.
Did we already vote on this?
We did not.
Okay.
See, you read it?
Greg.
I'll present it as a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
And we all agreed that, you know, Cooper has a right to come back to the board and say, this is working or this is not working, and we can help and work with him at a future date to tweak.
Yes,
you know.
yes.
Absolutely,
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes. New and old business. Brian, anything new and old?
Let's see. I'm going to be watching football this weekend because we're all going to be snowed in. I'd like to say I'm rooting for someone, but ever since Buffalo got lost.
That was a catch. I don't care what you say.
No, it wasn't. It was bullshit. Excuse me.
Was it a catch or not?
All right, the first call, they didn't call when they should have, and the second one, they did, and they should not have.
That's home field advantage. So who are you rooting for? Go on.
Well, my first choice of the Dallas Cowboys, yes, I'll say that again. Yay! Here we go.
I don't get it. I just don't get it.
Now, listen, I was a kid in Dallas, Texas, and I went to a Dallas game, and ever since then, I've been a fan. So
Got sucked
what do you
into
want?
it. All right.
And
Starbuck.
I actually have a dog in this fight.
Yeah.
Because
the Rams.
What team would a little boy from New York root for other than the formerly St. Louis and now LA Rams? But the first football game that I watched and paid attention to was Super Bowl 34, Rams against Titans, and I didn't even know where St. Louis was. I was a little kid, but I'm like, Rams, that's my team. And 25 years later, we got a shot at a Super Bowl berth. So go Rams.
Okay. Anything else, Brian?
No.
Don.
No, football season's over, the Bills are out, so.
I hear you.
And Cowboys.
And Cowboys. All right. Greg, you already spoke?
Yeah, I got
Jackie?
Nothing.
Cooper, when's the next town board meeting?
It's going to be,
February 4th?
yeah, it's going to be February 4th.
Next town board meeting, February 4th. Stay out of the cold. It's going to be real cold this weekend. But as many people said, our highway department is out there keeping our roads safe. I'm very proud of them. And all our other workers, buildings and grounds, finance, everybody here, our officers, everything. So we already did the executive session, and we're out to adjournment. I'll make a motion to adjourn. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Good night.
Night.
Listen, all that.